man, just like that, I'm back. You know the vibes, myself, Big Cam, back for another one. Shout out to the recent subscribers, shout out to all the people locking in. You know the vibes, back for another one. Today, I wanted to talk about humility. You've got one camp of people that will say to you, be humble, have humility, because you don't want to end up like Dame Dash, where back in the days you was flexing, popping bottles, doing your thing, all the gal them, all the money, and then now you're recording videos, your teeth is dropping out, it's looking like you might have to give back money that you stole from different account. Like, you don't want to end up in that situation, innit? Then you got the other camp of people that say, fudge that. See how I saved it? The other camp of people that say, forget all of that, bro. If you've done certain things, if you've had certain achievements, you can talk all the crud, talk all of the smack that you want to talk because you earned it. And I do believe that for the most part. But I'm going to tell you from my personal perspective, yeah, why I roll with the humility thing. Obviously, I always speak about ego. I always speak about managing it and making sure that you don't gas yourself up to think you're more than you are, and understanding that everyone bleeds, everyone's gonna die, and eventually you're just here for, 50 to 100 years, give or take, whatever. And once you've had your run, that's you done, and there ain't no respawns. So, me personally, I'm of the opinion that it's better to be humble, because I'd rather be humble for the most part. That way, no one ain't popping up trying to serve me humble pie. Do you get it? And also, the thing is, like, shit happens in life. Like, even me, I plan a lot of stuff, and God always reminds me, like, I know you got your timeline, Cam, and that, but no. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can plan all the things you want to plan, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, and sometimes you have to take an L, as in a lesson, not a loss. But I say all that to say this. About a month ago, I was supposed to fly out with my missus to Romania. Basically, it didn't work out. We didn't end up going. And obviously at the time, it was a very tough pill to swallow, because that stuff doesn't normally happen to me. Like, I've seen people's flights get delayed, I've seen people's flights get cancelled and all of this stuff. But for the most part, over the last 10 years or so that I've been flying out and doing my thing, I've not really experienced that. Probably, I'd say, let's say I took 30 flights, I've experienced it twice in the last 30 times I've flown away or whatever, yeah? But I say all that to say, I was humbled in that moment and reminded, like I just said, that I can have all the fancy plans and I can think to do certain things this way, and I've planned it to the T, and yeah, if we just get that this time. No, sometimes, there's not even sometimes, 90% of the time, there's going to be things, there's going to be, what they call it, variables. Shout out to Science Gang and that. There's going to be variables that you can't legislate for, bro. And as they always say, roll with the punches. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying draw for the humility thing, because when you're humble or you have humility, that way you can digest what's happening. You can say, all right, cool, I've taken a loss, or a lesson, should I say, and I've learned from the lesson that next time I'm gonna do this to lower the chances of ending up in the same predicament that I just experienced. I hope I'm making sense with what I'm trying to say, but I think you get the point. But yeah, man, not to, as I said, say, don't big up yourself, don't celebrate your achievements and always just be like, oh yeah, thanks guys. I ain't saying all of that. I'm saying kill the ego. Have a little bit of the ego, just so you know, I've got to get up and do things and complete tasks and goals and stuff. But definitely have that level of humility where you know, today might not be my day, you know. It's just not written in the stars for me this day or this weekend. And roll with the punches. Understand tomorrow's another day, and we go again. You get me? Oh yeah, I'll also add as well, one cool perk about being humble is that people will give you more grace if you mess up. Like, people are much more likely to say to someone that has apologized and said, oh, sorry, I made a mistake or whatever. They're much more likely to actually give you grace if you were humble before the fall of grace or fall from grace. Like, think of it, if I was an obnoxious person and I just thought my shit don't stink and I move like that and I treat people like that, and then I made a big mess up, and then now I'm looking around like people like, yo, like this ain't me, like forgive me. People are gonna be like, no, you made your bed, you lie in it, because when you was talking all that smack 5 minutes ago, you didn't give a shit about none of these people that you now want forgiveness from. So this is what I'm saying, you got to think about the bigger picture, remain humble, you know what I'm saying, celebrate your achievements, but still have that level of humility that you know that you are still just a normal human, just like everyone else. You might be, I guess the best way to wrap it up is saying, there's nothing wrong with being a normal human with extraordinary traits. See how I did that? Does that make sense? Can you be a normal human with extraordinary traits? I don't know. Maybe I'm waffling. Maybe I'm chatting shit. But you can let me know in the comments below. Shout out to people still locked in. Shout out to people that message me on Instagram, giving me video ideas or telling me ways that I can improve my content and that. And also, this is probably a bit of a random one, but shout out to some of the content creators that I've come across online as well, that have like responded to man and given man words of advice or even just motivated me to keep going. Like, bro, there's a lot of people out there. In fact, I'll leave it on this message. There are people that are following your journey who you will never know, but they're taking a big chunk of inspiration from how hard you're going. So keep going. In whatever lane you're doing, whatever you're on, keep going. Trust me, tomorrow's another day and we will get the W. Shout out the gang. Never forget, bro, spikes in the face and that. Never forget that there's always more to the ends. Wow.
It ain't no redos. Don't last 1,000 years. Live to what, 60, 70? That ain't a long time if you really think about it. Then by the time you start getting money and enjoying life, you done already lived 20% of your life. Then another 40% of your life you're gonna be old, so you ain't gonna really be able to do a lot. So what do you really only get 40% of life to really just live and have fun for real, if you really think about it. Because you got to calculate the half of your life that you sleep. So if you 70, I ain't even going to say half because don't nobody sleep 12 hours. If you live to be 70, at least 25 of them years sleep. So you really only living to be what, 45? That's you're alive. 10 of them years you a child. So 35. Then you got to think about the broke years where you really don't get to move around and really be who you are for real because you don't got the funds. So that's another 5, 10 years. You really only got a real 20 years to really live your life for real, if you think about it. So all that don't really be worth it at the end of the day. None